cigarettes. Bro Chen, you probably have plenty of food here. Bro Hai couldn't find anything special, so here's 100 cigarettes as a gift. Bro Hai went to great lengths to gather them. Whether you accept our request or not, the cigarettes are yours. Chen Luo smiled. What's the matter? Tell me. Song Ling nodded cautiously. An issue arose on our end. A powerful individual with special abilities named Jiang Wu has emerged. He's competing with us for resources and is trying to take in survivors. That would have been tolerable, but he's too arrogant. He claims that 2 tigers can't share a mountain and threatens to wipe us out if Bro Hai doesn't become his subordinate. This guy is truly formidable. He effortlessly killed over a dozen of our people, including several competent fighters. Most of them were level 2. Bro Hai can't handle him, so we had no choice but to seek your help. Hearing this, Chen Luo pondered. 1 against a dozen, and many of them were level 2. The difference between level 2 and 3 abilities isn't that vast. It must be at least level 4. Unless this person had access to high-level crystals from the onset of the apocalypse, it must have been a level 6 or even level 7 crystal. Such high-level crystals don't get absorbed quickly. If I managed to take him down, Chen Luo felt this could be a profitable venture, but out of caution, he inquired, what kind of abilities does this person possess? How did he kill those men? Song Ling replied, it seems like he's of the physical type. He simply overpowered and killed our people without much technique. After some thought, Chen Luo agreed to help. Alright, I'll come with you to take a look. Upon hearing this, Song Ling was elated. Thank you, Bro Chen. Let's not waste any time and leave right away. He then turned to Rice, holding him and asked, Rice, do you think I might face danger on this trip? If you sense any threat, I won't go. Rice pondered. I don't think so. I haven't sensed anything. What do you mean? Think. Is there danger or not? After a more thorough sensing, Rice confirmed. No, you can go in peace. Chen Luo gave him a deadpan look at the phrase, go in peace. If we're setting out, we go together. Thunder King, you stay and guard the house. Soon after, the two arrived at Zhao Hai's base. Bro Chen, I can't thank you enough for coming to help. I'll remember this kindness. Jiang Wu is truly formidable. Our spells barely affect him. Please wait for a moment, Bro Chen. I'll gather our men and track down Jiang Wu. At this moment, Jiang Wu was surrounded by beautiful women, enjoying pleasures he had never experienced before the apocalypse. Then, relying on the crystals in his hand, he leveled up to the 4th level. Just as he was about to interact with the beauties in his arms, a panicked subordinate burst through the door, shouting, Boss, Zhao Hai has brought people here. Seeing his good time interrupted, Jiang Wu was furious. I didn't go looking for him, but he came looking for me. Is he courting death? Call all the brothers, grab your weapons, and follow me. In a short while, Jiang Wu and his men arrived at the entrance of the residential complex. Thus, the two groups confronted each other at the entrance. Meanwhile, Chen Luo was observing Jiang Wu from the back of the crowd. Although he couldn't determine Jiang Wu's exact level, it didn't matter. As long as he wasn't at the 7th level, there was no one he couldn't kill with a single stroke. Then, Jiang Wu started yelling at Zhao Hai. I gave you a chance because I thought you were someone of worth. I didn't expect you to be so ungrateful. I wanted to accept you, but you're courting death. Zhao Hai's face turned extremely unpleasant. Before the apocalypse, he wouldn't even have the chance to deal with such a brat, let alone be cursed by one. Jiang Wu, think you're so great? If I bring a dozen more men, dare you take them on? If you can handle them, I'll serve as your subordinate. Facing Zhao Hai's provocation, Jiang Wu agreed without hesitation. Seeing this, Zhao Hai sneered internally. After all, he's just a naive youngster. He can't resist being provoked. Who dares to take on Jiang Wu? A pound of sausage for each. As expected, with such a big reward, many brave souls stepped up. A group of men began ferociously smashing Jiang Wu with iron rods. However, Jiang Wu's body seemed as hard as iron, and he remained unscathed. Seeing this, Chen Luo knew it was his turn to act. He quietly approached Jiang Wu from behind. As everyone was busy assaulting Jiang Wu, Chen Luo secretly summoned a void sword behind his back. He swung the conjured void sword towards Jiang Wu, and in an instant, Jiang Wu was split in half. At that moment, he looked down in disbelief. Ignoring the shocked expressions of the onlookers, Chen Luo immediately searched for possible crystals on Jiang Wu's body. Even after checking all pockets, he found nothing. Could it be hidden in the bedroom? Recovering from his shock, the experienced Song Ling began to search Jiang Wu's groin area. Seeing Song Ling retrieve a crystal from Jiang Wu's underwear pocket, Chen Luo was astonished. He really knows how to hide things. Isn't he afraid it might be uncomfortable? What if his little brother absorbed the crystal and mutated? Song Ling caressed the crystal in his hand. It was the largest crystal he had ever seen. The larger the crystal, the better its effect. However, before Song Ling could cherish it, Chen Luo reached out for it. Even though Song Ling knew the importance of the crystal, he dared not refuse. He didn't want to end up being bisected like Jiang Wu. Chen Luo took the crystal with a look of disgust, saying, this is even more nauseating than finding it in a zombie's head. After inspecting the quality and remaining power of the crystal, Chen Luo was a bit disappointed. It's only a level 6 crystal, and there's not much power left, only about a quarter. Luckily, it's a psychic type, which should be suitable for Rice to absorb. At this moment, Chen Luo pulled out another crystal from Jiang Wu, making Zhao Hai watch enviously from the side. He too knew the value of the crystal, but he dared not utter a a word. He wouldn't dare to compete with Chen Luo. He was well aware that Jiang Wu, whom he couldn't handle, was instantly killed by Chen Luo. Moreover, the manner of Jiang Wu's death was bizarre. Even though he was split in half, not a single drop of blood was shed. Thinking of this, Zhao Hai turned to Jiang Wu's subordinates and said, "Everyone, don't be afraid. I promise I won't make things difficult for you." Jiang Wu was an idiot. At this time, we should all come together and focus on getting rid of the zombies. I can assure all of you that following me will not lead to any losses. Those who want to join us, come forward. Chen Luo glanced at the time and said, "It's time to go. I can't leave my home unattended." Zhao Hai sighed in relief. "Bro Chen, thank you again for your help. If you ever need assistance in the future, just let me know. Do you want some people to escort you home?" Chen Luo waved his hand. "No need. But about that golden Bentley, I won't be shy about taking it. If Bro Chen likes it, feel free to take it. If we find any good cars in the future, we'll make sure to send them to you first," Zhao Hai assured. Watching Chen Luo drive away, Zhao Hai remarked, "It's really advantageous to know a powerful person like him. Send a message down the line. If any of our people encounter Chen Luo in the future, they should be very respectful. He might just save their lives at a crucial moment." On the way back to the villa, Rice was catching up on a TV drama from the morning. Rice was engrossed in the show. Chen Luo took a glance and noticed it was a historical drama. In one scene, a Taoist priest was telling the protagonist's fortune, "Young friend, I see a great misfortune looming over you." True to the priest's words, the protagonist soon faced danger. This piqued Rice's interest. "This person is even more skilled than me." Chen Luo chuckled. "The priest is just acting, but Rice is the real deal." Rice mimicked the movements of the Taoist priest from the TV, making Chen Luo burst into laughter. "You're too adorable." Rice, trying to tell a fortune with her claws, said, "Let me predict for Mi Ling." Chen Luo laughed, wondering if Rice had been genuinely inspired to tell fortunes. Suddenly, Rice's expression turned serious. "I foresee a large chest omen for Mi Ling." Upon hearing this, Chen Luo paused in confusion. "A great misfortune? Is this real or fake? I'm not at home right now. Is Mi Ling in danger?" With these thoughts, Chen Luo pressed hard on the accelerator, rushing back to the base. Upon arriving, Chen Luo was met with stunned faces. "What happened to all of you?" Xu Yun, with a bruised and battered face, replied, "We went to the artificial lake for training and encountered a swarm of bees. There were over 2,000 of them, making them really hard to deal with. So, understanding the situation, Chen Luo then turned to Meili. "Meili, are you okay? Were you hurt? And where's your sister? Why don't I see her?" Meili looked around, ensuring no one was listening, before whispering, "I'm fine, and so is my sister, but she got stung in a sensitive area and it swelled up. She's gone back to her room." Chen Luo, a bit puzzled, asked, "Which area?" Meili blushed and pointed to her chest. Suddenly, everything clicked for Chen Luo. So the large chest omen was not the great misfortune I was thinking of. "Rice, you should have been clearer. You scared me half to death." Rice responded with a pitiful look. "I did say large chest omen." Meanwhile, on the streets, Su Yang held his dying brother, grief evident in his eyes. But his brother, struggling to breathe, advised, "Brother, I've observed the villa-based base you joined. It's safe there. You don't have to worry about someone betraying you constantly." Tears streaming down his face, Su Yang cried, "Brother, don't leave me. You're the only family I have left. If we're to join, let's join together." Difficulty, his elder brother smiled. "I can't make it. Currently, we only have 2 crystals, and we need 3 to join." However, they didn't specify that the crystals must come from zombies. "Extract my crystal to make it 3, and then you can join them." His brother's strength waned, and soon his head drooped, leaving Su Yang devastated in the middle of the street. In the end, Su Yang did extract his brother's crystal, but this event drastically changed his mindset. "Even though we were a bit cowardly at the start, why didn't you give us a chance? Why couldn't we join you to kill zombies as a team? Instead, you forced my brother and me to face the zombies alone. If it weren't for your harsh requirements, my brother would still be alive. I hate you all. I'll make sure every one of you pays for my brother's death." Su Yang's plan was to first join Chen Luo's side. However, when he returned to Chen Luo with the crystal, Rice immediately sensed his malicious intent. "This man wants to kill you," Rice said. Although Chen Luo didn't show any reactions on the surface, he was wondering, what grudge does he hold against me to want me dead? He sent Rice away, saying, "The scene that's about to unfold isn't fit for viewing." Then he took Su Yang to a room where Jin Tao was. Without uttering a word, Chen Luo slapped Su Yang across the face. "Tell me, why do you want to kill me? Who sent you?" Su Yang was shocked, wondering how Chen Luo knew his intentions. He feigned innocence. "We just met. Why would I want to kill you? I genuinely wanted to join." At this, Chen Luo slapped him again. "Tell me the truth. My patience has limits." Unable to restrain himself, Su Yang stood up, electricity crackling in one hand and a blazing fireball in the other. Chen Luo's pupils shrank. This was dual ability activation, a phenomenon extremely rare and difficult to attain. In his previous life, even after reaching the king level, Chen Luo had never managed to activate a second ability. Su Yang yelled, "All because you set such strict requirements. My brother died because of you, while you sit back at home and play with cats. Don't you deserve death?" Chen Luo replied exasperatedly, "As if I caused the apocalypse. Was it my fault you suffered? Did I beg you to join? Enraged, Su Yang unleashed his dual abilities on Chenluo, but to Chenluo, it was nothing. Without holding back, Chenluo waved his hand, a spatial force cutting Su Yang's head off. Later, members of the team began to go on various missions. Rice, however, was intently staring at someone, saying hesitantly, "I feel this person will die." Chenluo was taken aback. Previously, Rice could only sense danger around those close to him, but after reaching the 4th level, he could sense strangers' fates. To verify Rice's prediction, Chenluo decided to personally follow the person. Meanwhile, Su Mingqing stepped behind a tree to relieve himself. Su Mingqing had distanced himself from the group when Chenluo looked up and noticed a zombified cat on the tree. It was a black cat, well hidden amongst the branches. Just as it was about to pounce on Su Mingqing, Chenluo, with lightning-fast reflexes, slapped it away. Simultaneously, back at the villa, Rice suddenly spat out blood and fainted. This startled Thunder King, whose eyes widened in shock. What's happening? If something happens to Rice, how will I explain to the master? The main concern for Thunder King was that only it was present with Rice, and there were no witnesses. What if the master thinks I hurt Rice? I wouldn't even be able to explain, and I might end up as dog meat. With trembling fear, Thunder King approached Rice, gently nudging him, but Rice didn't respond. Growing more anxious, Thunder King decided to inform the master. Holding Rice in its mouth, Thunder King placed him on a chair and ran out to find Chenluo. Within moments, a teary-eyed Thunder King located Chenluo and barked twice before turning to lead the way. Thunder King knew Chenluo would understand the urgency. Sure enough, Chenluo's face paled, and he followed Thunder King at full speed towards the base. In less than a minute, Chenluo arrived at the base. Thunder King stood beside the rocking chair, barking in distress, as if trying to say, "It wasn't my fault." The sight truly panicked Chenluo, who rushed to Rice's side, cradling him and checking his condition. His heart was still beating, and his body was warm. He's still alive. Chenluo sighed in relief, but he was puzzled about how Rice, in perfect health, could have been injured when none of the members on guard duty were hurt. Clearly, no outsiders had been here. With murderous intent in his eyes, Chenluo demanded, "Who did this?" Thunder King shivered and hastily shook its head, indicating its innocence. Mi Li, who had just arrived, asked, "Chenluo, what happened? Why did you call me back so urgently? What's wrong with Rice? We'll discuss it later. First, heal him." Mi Li nodded, quickly employing her healing ability to tend to Rice. Chenluo was lost in thought. Why would Rice get hurt? Was it because I intervened and saved Su Mingqing, causing Rice's prophecy to backlash against him? But before this, Rice had also prophesied about Mi Li and Mi Ling, and intervening had never been an issue. After undergoing the healing, Rice slowly opened his eyes, appearing extremely drained. "Don't worry," he murmured. "I'm fine. This time, I was indeed affected because the prophecy was altered." Feeling guilty, Chenluo said, "I shouldn't have been so impulsive." Rice, focusing his senses, explained, "I sense a track around me. You, Mi Ling, and Mi Li are on this track, orbiting around me, while others are outside of it. If you three deviate from it, I can correct the course. But if anyone else does, it comes with a significant risk for me." Thunder King seems to be desperately trying to get onto the track, but he's at the farthest point from me. Correcting his path might mean I'd never get to eat fish again. Chenluo analyzed Rice's words, realizing that if someone had a 100% intimacy level with Rice, then the outcome of Rice's prophecies could be altered without backlash. Currently, only Chenluo, Mi Li, and Mi Ling fit this category. Such power must be used judiciously. In my past life, I never met Rice. Turning to Thunder King, he patted its head. "Thunder King, it would benefit you to get closer to Rice in the future." Thunder King looked puzzled. "I'm not a sycophant. Why would I need to cozy up to him?" After Chenluo whispered an explanation into its ear, Thunder King's eyes widened in realization. The benefits are so significant, it means I can ensure my survival. Chenluo placed Rice on Thunder King's back. "From now on, Thunder King will double up as your mount, Rice." A month swiftly passed, and Chenluo once again gathered everyone. As you all have witnessed in the past month, within just over 30 days, some of the level 2 zombies have started evolving again. When Chenluo spoke, everyone below began to panic, discussing amongst themselves. "I encountered a level 3 zombie yesterday. It scared the life out of me," one said. "I haven't even reached level 3 yet," another exclaimed. "They're not going to keep evolving indefinitely, are they?" wondered a third. Hearing these comments, Chenluo interjected, "Everyone, stay calm. The zombies' evolution only means they have had some enhancement in attributes and gained a little intelligence. It's not the same concept as your level evolution. However, I'll still ensure everyone has enough time to adapt. For the first 3 days, I only require 1 level 3 crystal daily. Any additional crystal you acquire will earn you 2 points. After 3 days, the daily requirement will increase to 2 level 3 crystals, and any extra will earn you 3 points." At that moment, the intercom crackled with Qingguang's voice. "Bro, Zhao Hai's people are at the door again. They say they have news to share with you." Chenluo rolled his eyes, thinking, "What now?" He announced, "Everyone, form teams and practice nearby for now." Dismissed. Walking to the villa entrance, Chenluo straightforwardly asked the visitors, "What's the matter?" The visitor explained, "There's a gathering being organized parked near the toll booth on National Highway 999. The intention is to bring everyone in the vicinity together to discuss how to overcome our current challenges. The gathering is scheduled for the day after tomorrow. Bro Hai intends to attend, and he wanted to know if you'll be joining. Rubbing his chin, Chenluo remembered something similar from his past life. Of course I'll attend this gathering. I didn't participate in my previous life, but after being reborn, my goal is to gather and unite the elites from everywhere. I want to create a strong and unified haven to withstand these apocalyptic times. A social event like this is the perfect opportunity to network and collaborate. The day after tomorrow quickly arrived, and Chenluo led his team to the gathering. As they stepped onto the highway, a sleazy voice called out, "Hey handsome, wanna have some fun? How about you guys? Our shop offers a variety of services at reasonable prices. Just 10 kilograms of rice or a level 2 crystal." Chenluo looked at the sleazy man with disgust. The world's ending, and you're still preying on women. He held a particular disdain for such individuals. The trading post was situated on the highway. Everyone parked their vehicles on either side and set up stalls in front of their vehicles, reminiscent of a bustling marketplace. Chenluo's group was taken aback by the lively scene, something they hadn't seen in a long while. Chenluo also set up a stall, displaying a sign detailing the benefits offered at his base. The sign stated they were only recruiting level 3 power users or those with unique abilities. It also mentioned they would pay high prices for high-level crystals, with the tagline, "Don't worry about our ability to pay, just make sure you have the goods." After setting up, Chenluo instructed his group, "Browse around, buy what you want, and contact anyone who has something of interest." After briefing them, he began wandering the market with Chen Guang, Fangyu, Xiaohaoren, and Su Daju. As they were about to complete their round of the market, Chenluo noticed a crowd gathered around a particular stall. He quickly made his way there, politely pushing through the crowd for a better view. Recognizing the vendor, he exclaimed, "Isn't this Brother Long, the one I met at the market after gathering supplies? Isn't that chicken the one Xiaohaoren begged for?" To his surprise, it seemed the chicken had yet to be eaten. At that moment, Zhou Mingliang coldly smirked at Jiang Long. "You want money for that damn chicken that burned my brother's hair? Do you think you can bully me? I'll give you 100 kilograms of rice, not a grain more. Otherwise, let's settle this elsewhere." Jiang Long, looking distressed, replied, "This chicken has the potential to become a phoenix. I want at least 10 tons of rice or dozens of level 2 crystals." Chenluo's eyes lit up when he saw the chicken. "Brother Long, I'll give you 20 level 2 crystals for this chicken. I'll take it." At this, Zhou Mingliang glared menacingly at Chenluo. "Are you trying to stir trouble? This chicken injured my brother. It's only right that it's sold to me." Chenluo merely glanced at him and chose not to respond. Seeing Chenluo ignoring him, Zhou Mingliang's anger boiled over and he lunged at Chenluo. However, before he could make a move, Xiaohaoren punched him, sending him flying. Now, Zhou Mingliang was utterly enraged. "Damn it, anyone who wants to live better get out of the way. It's always been me, Zhou Mingliang, bullying others. Today, someone dares to stand up to me? Get them." Chenluo, with a smirk on his face, watched Xiaohaoren's swift action. I wonder what Brother Long's reaction would be if he knew just how powerful Xiaohaoren is, Chenluo thought. Without hesitation, Xiaohaoren, with a steely expression, moved forward. With fists as fast as lightning, he took down each opponent. In less than 2 minutes, the dozens that had surrounded them were all knocked to the ground. And even after taking down so many, Xiaohaoren was unscathed. Seeing this, Jiang Long was utterly flabbergasted. Even though he knew Xiaohaoren was a champion in free fighting, he hadn't expected such a difference in power, especially now that it was the end of days and many had supernatural abilities. He regretted his previous decision. He could have had someone of Xiaohaoren's caliber on his side just for a single chicken. How could I have been so foolish back then? Jiang Long lamented. "Where he bought a fire-breathing chicken. Brother Long, they do their thing, and we continue with our trading." This made Jiang Long very reluctant to part with it. Although the price was far from what he had expected, Jiang Long didn't dare say anything after Chenluo forcibly took it away. He didn't want to end up like the person who was just beaten up by Xiaohaoren. "My chicken is gone." Chenluo, with a full face of smiles, grabbed the old hen. "Would be nice to use this to nourish Meili's health when I have the time." However, the chicken, not knowing what's good for it, immediately pecked Chenluo's hand. Although its beak is quite sharp, it didn't cause any harm to Chenluo due to its low level. Instead, it had a feather forcibly pulled off by Chenluo. The hen cried out in pain. Chenluo glared at it threateningly with a gloomy face. "Peck me again and see what happens. I'll pluck all your feathers on the spot and have you for dinner tonight. Try me." The old hen immediately behaved. Chenluo then put the hen in a bag. Just then, an announcement came over the loudspeaker. "All team leaders please gather at the East Toll Station. Space is limited, so it's best to bring only 2 people with you." Upon hearing this, Chenluo immediately returned to his team's stall. "Looks like the organizer is is finally showing up. Chenhaoren, Sudaju, the two of you come with me. Everyone else, you're free to move around. After giving his instructions, Chenluo then led the two to the toll station. As soon as they arrived, Zhao Hai called Chenluo over to sit next to him and began to introduce the organizer of this trade fair. Bro Chen, that man is Yi Gaofei, the heir to Yi Corporation, dealing in international trade. I hear this young guy is quite skillful and experienced. Chenluo slightly nodded, but his attention was not on Yi Gaofei. Instead, he focused on a young man next to him wearing a gray t-shirt. He knows this person, Lam Yu, a metal element ability user who can transform into various shapes to serve as a weapon for others. Metal element ability users are quite rare, and besides melee, he is another king-level support powerhouse from his past life. If I can recruit him, wouldn't that mean he could transform into a sword for our warrior or a staff for our mage? At this point, seeing that most people had arrived, Yi Gaofei began to introduce himself. I am very pleased that everyone could attend this trade fair I organized. My name is Yi Gaofei. I have set up a base that currently houses 1,252 survivors, 812 of whom are level 2, 56 are level 3, and 3 are level 4. As soon as he said this, everyone but Chenluo was shocked. They actually have level 4 ability users. Chenluo then counted how many level 4 individuals were in his own base. It seemed that aside from himself being level 5, there were only 4 others, and a cat and a dog. It looks like this guy must have high-level crystals. Yi Gaofei smiled as he watched the astonished expressions on people's faces. They probably don't yet know how big the gap between level 3 and level 4 is. If they did, they'd be even more surprised. Next, I have 2 pieces of good news to share with everyone. The first is that as long as you reach level 4, you will no longer have to worry about contaminated water. Even level 3 physical types can handle it. Water is the source of life. This indicates that we humans can continue to survive. Chenluo chuckled softly at this. Although it was true, unfortunately, contaminated water would permanently reduce human potential. Bad luck for anyone who drinks it. The second piece of news is about the secret of the crystals. With that, Yi Gaofei took out a level 6 crystal from his pocket. Chenluo immediately narrowed his eyes, looking a bit disappointed. Too bad, it's a bit low level. Yi Gaofei continued. Now, I will share with you the secrets of the crystals I know about. I believe many people here have used level 3 crystals. Anyone who has used them knows that they are much better than level 1 or level 2. The crystal I have here is even more advanced, although I can't distinguish its specific level at the moment. The reason our people advanced to level 4 so quickly is all due to using this advanced crystal. Zhao Hai below the stage widened his eyes upon hearing this, then turned his head towards Chenluo with sudden realization. So that's why he is so powerful. He must have used a very high-level crystal. No wonder he was so eager to loot the body after killing Jiang Wu. Then Yi Gaofei went on to talk about individual crystal absorption rates and personal growth rates. Yi Gaofei was being completely open. Chenluo sneered. Yi Gaofei is so kind-hearted. He must be up to something. Sure enough, Yi Gaofei's next words confirmed Chenluo's suspicion. Yi Gaofei continued. Folks, I am sharing all this with you because I can't bear to see any more mutual killing. Individual power is hard to sustain in this post-apocalyptic world. I've called you all here to form a unified group. Of course, I'm not insisting. It's up to you to decide. This collective will be co-ruled by everyone. We will form an elders council, and any leader here with decent strength can become an elder. All decisions will be made by voting within the council. Chenluo thought to himself, he's putting on this whole show just to recruit some followers. The crowd began to get excited. Based on Mr. Ye's selfless sharing, we can tell you're a good person of high character. I'm willing to join. Mr. Yi has 3 level 4s. Joining him would make me feel secure. At this point, a white-haired woman stood up to speak. Our boss Yi said it's all voluntary, but if someone chooses not to join, don't blame us for outnumbering you when we cross paths while gathering supplies later. Zhao Hai thought to himself, damn, this woman is intentionally playing the bad cop. Next, Yi Gaofei distributed a leaflet to everyone. Chenluo looked at it and thought, by distributing such a tempting leaflet to the members of each team, there will always be some who want to join, even if their leaders disagree. There will be a number of followers who will come to him on the sly. Yi Gaofei saw that the time was about right and stood up to say, all right, everyone, think it over. If you're willing, come over here and register. Those who come are all brothers. Chenluo smirked to himself. This Yi Gaofei is really something, pressing some people into a corner. But I haven't heard much about this Yi Gaofei in my previous life. So, if nothing unexpected happens, he should pretty much bring about his own downfall soon. Once he's gone, I'll approach Long Yu to express my sincerity and try to win him over. Chenluo was well aware that his scheme not only offended all the leaders present, but also brought some survivors with ill intentions into his team. Sure enough, some restless leaders were already preparing to band together. Even though Yi Gaofei was relying on having 3 level 4s on his side, he wouldn't be able to withstand all the leaders working against him covertly. After all, each survivor has their own ulterior motives. It's not possible for everyone to unite against the zombies. After discussing some plans with the other leaders, Xiao Hai turned his head to ask Chen Luo if he wanted to join in. Chen Luo responded, "I won't get involved in a children's fight." Xiao Hai nodded. Chen Luo initially thought he wouldn't recruit anyone, but surprisingly, he managed to get 3 people. However, when Chen Luo looked at these 3, he noticed their eyes were a bit shifty. He immediately realized that these 3 were likely spies planted by others, planning to infiltrate his ranks. "It seems I'll have to get Rice to take a closer look when I get back." Seeing that the time was about right, Chen Luo signaled for everyone to start heading back to the city. Driving at the front was Chen Guan, while Chen Luo occasionally looked out at the scenery. Suddenly, he saw a young woman in the distance staring at his convoy. Initially, Chen Luo didn't pay much attention, but when he recalled the woman's face, he hit the brakes abruptly. Opening the car door, he and his team immediately ran towards the young woman. Seeing Chen Luo and a bunch of men getting out of the car, the young woman panicked and started running away. Chen Luo shouted from behind, "Don't run, I mean no harm." Meng Yin kept running ahead, ignoring him completely. Time to transform. The next second, Meng Yin turned into a little white rabbit, speeding up considerably. Although Meng Yin was fast, she was no match for Chen Luo. He used his void walk technique and grabbed the rabbit by its ears, lifting it up. Fear filled the rabbit's eyes. "How can this person run so fast?" Chen Luo said with a smile, "I really mean no harm. Are you alone? Why don't you transform back?" Meng Yin, who was caught, had no intention of transforming back. Seeing her reluctance, Chen Luo simply smiled. "It's dangerous for you to be alone. Come back with me. If you don't respond, I'll assume you agree. Let's go. Big brother will bring you back for some good food." Tears flowed down Meng Yin's cheeks. "Where did you get the idea that I agreed?" Upon returning to the main camp, Meili asked in surprise, "Where did you get this chicken and rabbit?" Chen Luo laughed. "I picked them up on the way." As soon as the words left his mouth, Chen Luo accidentally let go, and the rabbit dropped from his hand. Drained of her abilities, Meng Yin transformed back into a young woman. Standing up, Meng Yin glared at Chen Luo. "What do you mean picked up? You clearly kidnapped me." Chen Luo ignored her remark, and instead directed Xu Yun to take her to eat. Meng Yin, forcibly brought by Chen Luo, was extremely angry. "I'd rather starve to death than eat anything from you." To this, Chen Luo chuckled. "Be careful not to speak too soon, young lady." By evening, an extremely hungry Meng Yin began eating. "Who was it that said they'd rather starve than eat my food?" Meng Yin retorted, "I didn't starve, did I? If I'm alive, of course, I'll eat. You have pretty thick skin, young lady. Go ahead and eat. I'm genuinely sorry for bringing you here by force. We are in great need of nature-based ability users in my base. If you can grow crops, a meat meal every day won't be a problem." Somewhat discontent, Meng Yin responded, "Well, you've already kidnapped me, so it seems like I don't have much choice. I'll take the opportunity to observe, and if it's truly good, I'll have him bring Xiao Yu over." Chen Luo then handed her a bunch of potato seeds, asking her to try and improve them. After saying this, Chen Luo turned to leave. At that moment, Su Dezhu found Chen Luo and said, "Bro, Rice told me that the 3 new recruits from the trade meeting are spies. Chen Hao ran and I just beat them up, and they've all confessed. 2 are from Yi Gaofei's side, and 1 was sent by Qilin." Upon hearing this, Chen Luo made a throat-slitting gesture and ordered, "Kill them all. Let's keep this quiet and see how things unfold." At this moment, Zhao Hai's subordinate ran over. "Brother Chen, sorry to bother you again. Qilin has suddenly sent an invitation asking Brother Hai to discuss dealing with Yi Gaofei, and Qilin has insisted multiple times that you should also come along." Chen Luo directly agreed, thinking to himself, "I'm quite curious about how Qilin and others plan to deal with Yi Gaofei. Maybe I'll find a chance to help Long Yu if he's in danger." Soon all the local leaders gathered together and started discussing a plan against Yi Gaofei. Qilin confidently said that he could take down Yi Gaofei. "I have a way to kill Yi Gaofei, but in return, I'll take 30% of the supplies. The rest will be evenly split among everyone. Who wants to join me in taking down Yi Gaofei?" Chen Luo immediately refused, stating he had too few men to participate. Hearing this, Qilin stared coldly at Chen Luo. "Don't push your luck, young man. If you're hoping to profit from our mutual destruction, I suggest you abandon that thought. Otherwise, you'll be the first I take down." Zhao Hai, startled by this, broke into a cold sweat. "Didn't I warn this old guy not to mess with Chen Luo? Is he asking for death?" Zhao Hai immediately vouched for Chen Luo. "Brother Chen Luo is definitely not that kind of person. He simply does not wish to get involved in disputes." But Qilin was not convinced. "I don't believe in words, only actions. If it weren't for giving you some face, he would be kneeling, not sitting." Upon hearing this, Zhao Hai knew Qilin was doomed, and no longer tried to persuade him. Chen Luo let out a cold laugh from the side. "So you think you're brave? I'd like to see what gives you the audacity to make me kneel." Qilin glared menacingly at Chen Luo. "I can see you're not a nobody, even if you're a level 4, just like Yi Gaofei. I don't believe a level 4 can take on hundreds of people. You've grown so quickly, you must have high-level crystals on you. Hand them over, and swear to lead the charge against Yi Gaofei, and I might spare your life. Upon hearing this, Chen Luo finally understood the situation. No wonder he's planting spies while insisting that Zhao Hai bring me into this. He's just looking for an excuse to deal with me. Seeing Chen Luo unfazed, Qi Lin immediately ordered his men to search him. Several burly men moved in to pin down Chen Luo, but in the next second, Chen Luo appeared behind Qi Lin. Before he could react, Chen Luo slapped him across the face. I ask you, what's your plan to kill Yi Gaofei? The slap wasn't damaging, but it was highly insulting. Qi Lin couldn't remember the last time he'd been slapped. For someone as arrogant as him, it was extremely humiliating. If you've got the guts, kill me, and you won't walk out of my base alive. People immediately surrounded Chen Luo. If not for their fear of what Qi Lin might suffer at Chen Luo's hands, they would have already attacked. One of Qi Lin's subordinates shouted, "Let go of my big brother," but Chen Luo paid them no mind, as threats were the least effective on him. He continued slapping Qi Lin, quickly turning his face into a bloody, swollen mess. At this point, Qi Lin sneered, "I've been hustling since I was 13. I've been beaten up plenty. Haven't you had your fill? Kill me, and we'll die together." Upon hearing this, Chen Luo instantly gripped his throat. "You do have a tough guy's demeanor, but unfortunately, you messed with me without knowing better." At this point, one of Qi Lin's subordinates, burning with rage, threw caution to the wind and charged forward. Chen Luo coldly conjured a sword from the void and began slaughtering. Very few were level 3, most were level 2. They stood no chance against Chen Luo. After killing just a portion, the crowd collapsed and scattered in fear. Chen Luo generally leaves no loose ends, but in this situation, he alone couldn't eliminate the fleeing crowd. He turned his gaze to Zhao Hai and the others, telling them not to be afraid. "I won't kill spectators. As long as you don't provoke me, I never stir up trouble, and I'm not like Yi Gaofei, coveting everyone's manpower. I can't afford that." The other leaders, hearing this, could only awkwardly comply with Chen Luo. Meanwhile, at Yi Gaofei's base, a man wailing in despair came to Long Yu, holding a foul, rotting woman. He begged Long Yu to take his side. "3 days ago, I went out with you to kill zombies. When I returned, my wife had disappeared. Today, someone secretly told me Yulingjie did this." Upon hearing this, Long Yu angrily turned and headed for the level 3 area to confront Yulingjie. Just as he reached the door, he heard disturbing words from inside the room. Gripping his fists, Long Yu burst in, ready to interrogate Yulingjie. When Yi Gaofei arrived, upon seeing Yi Gaofei, Yulingjie looked as though he had seen his savior. Yi Gaofei directly advised Long Yu, although Yulingjie is at fault, his offense is not worthy of death. His value is much higher than others. He can kill more zombies in the future and atone for his mistakes. Upon hearing this, Long Yu exploded with anger. "In terms of value, aren't I more valuable than him? I want to kill him right now." Upon hearing this, Yulingjie, horrified, revealed the truth. "Brother Fei, save me. I'm the fall guy for you." At this, Long Yu angrily turned to Yi Gaofei and questioned, "Is what he said true?" Before Yi Gaofei could answer, Yulingjie jumped in and spoke first. "Brother Yi is busy managing the entire base during the day. What's wrong with relaxing with a few women at night? Only with a clear mind can you make sound decisions, ensuring more people survive. You don't lead anyone to kill zombies or gather supplies. You're just daydreaming about uniting the entire country, leading everyone to laze around and await death. And now you're even leading in womanizing? Why did I ever blindly follow you? If our paths are different, we cannot make plans together. I bid you farewell." After saying this, Long Yu turned and left. Watching Long Yu's departing back, Yulingjie immediately suggested to Yi Gaofei that they kill Long Yu here and now. Otherwise, there would be endless trouble later. Once he spreads this incident, it will undoubtedly cause chaos in the base. Although Yi Gaofei wanted to deal with Long Yu right away, he knew that he couldn't act openly. After all, quite a few people in the base had good relations with Long Yu. Having them act against Long Yu was unrealistic. Moreover, Long Yu himself was a level 4 powerhouse. Yi Gaofei couldn't just watch him leave. Suddenly, Yi Gaofei had an idea and turned to Yulingjie. He instructed him to spread the word, saying Long Yu is a bully who oppresses both men and women and has lost his humanity. In light of his past merits, I'll let him go. He and his followers should leave the base. Long Yu left the base with more than 40 people, somewhat lost and uncertain about where to go. Long Yu muttered to himself, "I was too naive. I wanted everyone to kill zombies together, as if it would be that simple." On the other side, Qi Lin's subordinates decided to ally themselves with Yi Gaofei, asking for his help in dealing with Chen Luo. After returning to the base, Xia Haoren excitedly approached Chen Luo, announcing he had reached level 4. Hearing this, Chen Luo felt very relieved. He then told Xia Haoren that once you reach level 4 in physical series, the crystals would continually release power to refine your body. You can control where this power refines you, apart from vital areas like your head and heart. I think you should focus the remaining energy on refining your fists. Xia Haoren thought about it and agreed. My fists have been my strongest weapon since I've been practicing boxing from a young age. Just as he was chatting with Xia Haoren, Qin Guang urgently contacted him via radio. "Big brother, Zhao Hai has come here for refuge. He says Yi Gaofei Gaofei is coming. Chen Luo immediately instructed Chen Guang to let him in. How could Yi Gaofei find my base? Xiao Hai said with a bitter smile. It's the followers of Qi Lin you didn't kill yesterday. They have joined Yi Gaofei. Hearing this, Chen Luo cursed inwardly. The one time I didn't eliminate a threat, it came back to cause trouble. He then spoke to everyone. Prepare for the enemy. Soon, an army of 2,000 people arrived at the front of Chen Luo's villa. Looking at the surrounding walls, all more than 5 meters high, with only the entrance lacking a wall, but only accommodating about a dozen people at once, Yi Gaofei couldn't help but admit that Chen Luo had some substance. However, even the most robust fortress can easily crumble from within. Thinking of this, Yi Gaofei took a megaphone and began to shout, Chen Luo, you are surrounded. Put down your weapons, give up the struggle, and surrender. No killing if you surrender. I advise you to come out with your followers to avoid unnecessary deaths. I guarantee on my honor that those who surrender will be treated as brothers. Otherwise, don't blame me when my army of 2,000 flattens your base. The first 10 people to surrender will be rewarded with 2 cans of Red Bull and 2 sausages. But after shouting for quite a while, Yi Gaofei saw no one come out to surrender. Hearing this, Chen Luo was utterly speechless. How ridiculous. Even an ordinary member on my side eats meat every day. But why are there only 2 level 4s? Where is Long Yu? Seeing that there was no movement from Chen Luo's side, Yi Gaofei, unable to contain himself, looked toward Zhang Hao and told him to take his men to be the vanguard. Zhang Hao had just joined Yi Gaofei and led a small group. Upon hearing this, Zhang Hao had no intention of taking action. He was just there to make up the numbers. He knew they would win the battle, but his group of over 50 would be wiped out, and he would be left with nothing. Eventually, Yi Gaofei would swallow him whole, not leaving even a trace. The moment Yi Gaofei ordered Zhang Hao, various small group leaders shrunk back and moved to the rear. Yi Gaofei was somewhat baffled, realizing he couldn't even find a vanguard among his 2,000 men. Though numerous, they were all inept, and they feared to face just over 200 enemies. After all, except for Yi Gaofei's confidants, nobody really trusted his team. The situation thus became oddly stalemate. Chen Luo sat quietly on the top floor of his villa, watching this group of clowns. In this odd stalemate, Chen Luo casually threw an apple core, of an apple he had just finished, into the crowd. The crowd scattered, thinking it was a hidden weapon, but when they looked closely, they realized it was just a fresh apple core. At this moment, Yi Gaofei finally realized a serious problem. Apart from Long Yu, who had followed him before, and his ultimate sycophant Hanya, nobody would actually risk their lives for him. Now that Long Yu had left in a huff, only Hanya remained. He had no choice but to look at Hanya with deep emotion. Hanya, you go. You are level 4. I will have Luwen add some protection to you. The level 3s can't harm you. If this stalemate continues, my prestige will be gone. You are my only reliance now. You will help me, right? Faced with Yi Gaofei's tender words, Hanya was almost moved. Without hesitation, Hanya nodded. As Hanya took the lead to charge, the others followed suit and rushed forward. As soon as they got close, they were attacked by long-range ability users, but they were all blocked by an earth shield. Hanya kicked open the iron door, only to discover a strange earth wall inside the entrance. Just as she was puzzled, Mi-Ling and Shuyan suddenly jumped out from behind the earth wall. At the same time, they threw spells they had conjured in their hands at her. Hanya's instincts made her hair stand on end. She quickly grabbed one of her subordinates to shield herself, but it still couldn't block Mi-Ling and Shuyan's attack. Instantly, more than a dozen figures were sent flying into the air. Their earth shield couldn't protect them. Hanya, who was blasted away, finally realized these two must be level 4s, otherwise the damage wouldn't be so high. Just then, Thunder King couldn't wait any longer and jumped out. Only then did Chen Luo notice Thunder King. As soon as he entered the field, how could others practice their coordination? But it was too late. Thunder King had already rushed into the crowd, going around the large army to find their leader, Yi Gaofei. After all, in Thunder King's eyes, Yi Gaofei was a moving point source. At this moment, Yi Gaofei also noticed something rushing toward him. Looking up, he saw a dog flying at him. In midair, the dog's mouth suddenly generated a terrifying ball of lightning. With a bang, the lightning ball exploded, sending several people next to Yi Gaofei flying. Yi Gaofei stared blankly. The power seemed to be stronger than his own abilities. After landing, the dog actually stood up like a human and launched a lightning palm attack straight at Yi Gaofei. Yi Gaofei wanted to dodge, but had no time to react. He was directly slapped by the dog. Yi Gaofei spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. Following that, Thunder King executed another Thunder Tail swipe, followed by another lightning ball, and finally, a flying kick to finish it off. Upon landing, Yi Gaofei died on the spot. He never thought that he would be killed by a dog today. Seeing that their boss Yi Gaofei had died, the surrounding people scattered in all directions. Among the crowd, a cleric even fell to his knees begging, "Don't kill me. I'm from the Light Series. I can heal." Upon hearing this, Chen Luo had Xia Haoran bring him over. Driven by the desire to survive, he quickly introduced himself. "Big brother, don't kill me. My name is Luwen. I am from the Light Series. I'm a cleric." Chen Luo chuckled. One more cleric means more protection protection for my subordinates. Alright, then you better answer my questions honestly. Why didn't Wang Yu come? Is he staying back at the base? No, that's not it. He was kicked out of the base by Yi Gaofei for harassing men and women. Chen Luo paused for a moment. Wang Yu isn't that kind of person, is he? Lu Wen meekly replied. Yi Gaofei framed him. Chen Luo suddenly understood. This man really brought it upon himself. After taking care of Yi Gaofei, Chen Luo learned about Wang Yu's whereabouts from cleric Lu Wen. So Chen Luo asked Zhao Hai to clean up the battlefield, promising to treat him to a feast later. He then took all his teammates to Yi Gaofei's base to collect the spoils of war, and along the way, search for Wang Yu. He definitely wanted to bring such a talent into his team. At this time, Thunder King approached Chen Luo with Yi Gaofei's crystal in its mouth to exchange for points. Seeing how obsessed the dog was with points, Chen Luo took the crystal and told him to stay home. We'll settle the points when I get back. Thunder King barked twice to indicate that he understood. Song Ling watched as Chen Luo walked away and sighed. Bro hi, why don't we join Chen Luo as well? Following him wouldn't be a bad idea. After all, the world's order has collapsed. Relying on relationships and worldly wisdom is useless. As soon as these words came out, Zhao Hai's other subordinates also began to discuss. I'm not going. I at least have a high-ranking position here with Bro Hai, and good stuff goes to us brothers. If we go to Chen Luo, and we don't even have the qualifications to be small fries, we'd be considered newcomers. Do you think Chen Luo would give us face, and directly promote us to elite members? Hearing this, Zhao Hai felt a bit bitter. He sighed, deciding to wait and see. If he got lucky and found a high-level crystal, there might still be a chance for him to rise. On the other side, with Lu Wen leading the way, Chen Luo easily reached Yi Gaofei's base, and took all the supplies, instructing others to carry the supplies. Chen Luo himself was bored and wandering outside. Suddenly, Chen Luo's eyes brightened, noticing a dog with golden fur in the base. The golden-furred dog seemed pleased to see Chen Luo and wagged its tail cutely. Chen Luo began to check its hindquarters, and after an examination found out it was a female dog. Chen Luo let out a strange laugh. Ah, it's a female. Perfect to bring back as a wife for Thunder King. Thunder King, I found you a wife. Charging you 1,000 points for it isn't too much, right? With that thought, Chen Luo took a leash from his inventory and put it on her, then led Golden Fur to find Thunder King. However, when Thunder King saw that Chen Luo brought back a dog, it lost all interest in waiting for Chen Luo to settle its points. After locking eyes with Golden Fur, Thunder King looked at Chen Luo with teary eyes. Seeing Thunder King like this, Chen Luo was puzzled. Is it really necessary to get this emotional? The next second, tears burst forth from Thunder King like a fountain. An unhappy Thunder King barked. Not only did you get rice, but you also have another dog outside, and you even brought her back. What does that make me? Meanwhile, Golden Fur, sensing Thunder King's hostility, began to tremble. Chen Luo, also feeling flustered by Thunder King's sadness, wondered, what's all this about? Then Chen Luo carefully explained. Thunder King, you've misunderstood. She is your wife-to-be, not a pet I keep outside. Hearing this, Thunder King gave Chen Luo a side eye. This dog is so timid. She doesn't deserve the majestic me. Chen Luo crossed his arms. If you don't like her, it's fine. I'll send her to my sister's place to be a pet when the sun rises. You want your points, right? Rice, come and translate. You got 300 points for killing Yi Gaofei, okay? Thunder King indicated that it also killed several other people today. Chen Luo continued. Then I'll add another 200. Let me calculate. That makes it 1,500 points. Thunder King immediately used these points to exchange for the elder dog position. Chen Luo was speechless. Fine, I don't know why you're so obsessed with this position. Thunder King insisted that this should be announced, so everyone would know. Everyone should respectfully call me elder dog. Chen Luo nodded with a smile, agreeing. Hearing this, Chen Luo playfully said, everyone, rest up for tomorrow. I'm going to bed too. Thunder King barked once, and Rice translated. Stupid dog says you should wake up early tomorrow, and don't forget to announce it in public. The next morning, Chen Luo made the announcement to everyone. Recently, one of our members has shown exceptional performance, accumulating 1,500 points, meeting the criteria to become an elder. So, I will now bestow upon him the title of elder. The members below immediately started to whisper among themselves. So quickly, someone has already become an elder. Could it be Xia Haoren? He kills a lot of zombies every day. It must be Xia Haoren, right? He's a strong guy. It could also be Mi Ling. Or could it be Xu Yun? Just as everyone was speculating, Chen Luo cleared his throat. Let's welcome this member. Come, let everyone take a look. Thunder King appeared, wearing a purple hat, clad in a purple cloak, and holding a long stick as if it were a cane, walking upright, with Thunder King's cool appearance. He made a dazzling entrance. Those in the audience who were unaware were completely taken aback. The first elder is Thunder King? Well, if it's Thunder King, that makes sense. Everyone knows Thunder King's strength, except for Chen Luo. Even if the rest of us teamed up, we couldn't beat him. At this moment, Chen Luo looked at the crowd and shouted, what are you all staring at? From now on, Thunder King is the elder. Call him Elder Dog. The members woke up as if from a dream and collectively shouted, hello, Elder Dog. Zhao Hai in the crowd was even more stunned. Is this even possible? Hearing the crowd call him Elder Dog, Thunder King was extremely excited and barked twice. Chen Luo translated. Elder Dog says, he's covering serving all the drinks tonight. Everyone can drink to their heart's content." With these words, the crowd erupted. "Thank you, Elder Dog." On the other side, Long Yu was quite shocked after hearing Chenluo's news. He killed Yi Gaofei and Hanya, and Chenluo is still recruiting. Long Yu thought for a moment and decided to come take a look. Upon reaching Chenluo's base, the first thing Long Yu was attracted to was the smell of barbecue. Is the treatment at their base this good? If we join now, do we also get to eat barbecue? Long Yu saw a notice board. He went up to it and his eyes brightened as he read, "Minimum level 3. Very strict. Not many people have reached this stage, and you must kill at least 2 zombies every day. More kills come with rewards." Long Yu found himself in strong agreement. Order is maintained within the base. No law-breaking allowed. Those who violate the rules will be severely punished. Unlike Yi Gaofei, who would take anyone, Long Yu felt that this base was pretty good. Long Yu looked back at his own people. About half of them haven't reached level 3 yet. If they join, they should join together. They've been through a lot with him. He can't just leave them behind like that. After some thought, Long Yu clenched his teeth and walked up to ask, "Brother, my name is Long Yu, and I'm a level 4 special ability user. Could you please pass a message to your leader for me?" On the other side, Chenluo looked at Thunder King and said, "Looking at the bill, we've consumed a total of 1,568 bottles of drinks today. That means your points are now negative 1,568. Better work hard, doggy." Hearing this, Thunder King was instantly dumbfounded. He had wiped out all his points for an elder position in one fell swoop. Just then, Chen Guang suddenly said into the walkie-talkie, "Bro Chen, a group of people outside want to join us. The one leading them is called Long Yu. He's a level 4, but 4 people in their group are level 2. They say they want to talk to us." Upon hearing this, Chenluo excitedly ran to the recruitment office. After fully understanding Long Yu's requirements, Chenluo said he could accommodate them. "But why do you want to join us?" "Because your management philosophy aligns with mine. I want to clear out all the zombies and restore the world back to normal as soon as possible." Upon hearing this, Chenluo had an epiphany. "But you can't just kill all the zombies because you want to." Thinking about this, Chenluo asked him what abilities he currently had. Long Yu replied, "I can control metal. My offensive power is average, but I can metalize my body. My physical defense is very strong, and my strength is not weak." Hearing this, Chenluo couldn't help but smile. "Kid, your talent is not as simple as just metalizing your body. Very strong? Let me try." Long Yu confidently spread his hands. "Come on." Chenluo charged his right hand, and then launched a punch directly at Long Yu's chest. Long Yu was pushed back a few meters. Long Yu was astounded. "Normally, I feel nothing when level 3 ability users hit me, but he only used one punch." Chenluo shook his head. "I only used 50% of my strength." Then Chenluo took out a steel pipe and explained, "Long Yu, I've actually seen a metal ability user who could melt metal, recombine it, and shape it into various forms, making them even more robust and sharp. I've tried that. I can do it too," said Long Yu. Chenluo shook his head and said, "What I want is not for you to change the shape of the metal, but to try and turn it into gold. Here is a gold ring. Familiarize yourself with the atomic structure of gold, and give it a try." After Chenluo's reminder, Long Yu tried it out in the way he suggested, and was shocked to find that he actually succeeded. Looking at the stunned face of Long Yu, Chenluo continued, "The short time for the metal transformation is due to your low level. As you level up, you'll be able to permanently change metals. Do you now understand your real value? You can restructure metal, create extraordinary weapons as equipment. Isn't that stronger than fighting on the front lines yourself? Very well, Long Yu, welcome to the team. Have you had dinner yet? We're holding a barbecue celebration. Come on in." The scene shifts. Meng Yin's sister, who was previously kidnapped by Chenluo, found Chenluo's base. Using her invisibility powers, she snuck into Chenluo's compound. Meng Yin was not being mistreated, but was eating some delicious fried chicken. "I was so worried about you, trying desperately to find you. I've been starving for days, and here you are, happily eating fried chicken." Saying this, Xiao Yu looked at her pitifully. This made Meng Yin feel a bit embarrassed. At this time, Thunder King, who was patrolling outside, suddenly heard noises from inside, knew someone had broken in, and hurried to inform Chenluo. Chenluo, hearing the news, rushed over cursing. "What are these guards doing? How could someone just break in? Meng Yin is my future hope for cultivation. She can't be in any trouble." Bursting through the door, Chenluo yelled, "Who are you? How did you get in here?" Hearing this, Meng Yin hurriedly explained, "She's my friend. She can become invisible. She snuck in." Hearing this, Chenluo breathed a sigh of relief, thinking to himself, "Turns out it's her friend. I thought someone had snuck in to harm her, but such a rare talent must be recruited." So Chenluo said, "It's dangerous for a young girl like Meng Yin to be outside. That's why I brought her back. Sorry to have worried you. Look, she's eating well here, living a much better life than you. If you have nowhere to go, you can also stay here. We have lots of ladies here. It's better to have some company. We have water, electricity, and no shortage of food." Hearing this, Xiao Yu was somewhat tempted, so she asked Chenluo, "If I stay, what would I need to do?" Chenluo replied, "Use your invisibility skill to go outside and help me find mutated zombies." "Mutated? Are those the powerful zombies that are on a completely different level than regular ones? What? Have you encountered such zombies?" Xiao Yu nodded, indicating that she had just passed by one on the road. She She saw a dead zombie, but its body and surroundings were covered in unmelted ice. It was completely different from regular zombies, so she didn't dare to approach it. The crystal is still on it. Hearing this, Chenluo immediately had an answer. It looks like there are high-level mutants fighting for territory around there. So Chenluo got the location from her and prepared to go take a look at dawn. The next morning, just as Chenluo was about to set off, he was stopped by a hastily arriving Zhao Hai, who told him to flee for his life. Just now I saw a zombie that was 100 meters away, but in the blink of an eye, it teleported next to my men. The zombie blew a breath and killed them. Its strength is incredibly strong, and what's even more frightening is its speed. The wind blades it generates can't be dodged by anyone. Hearing this, Chenluo realized it might be the high-level mutated zombie that Xiaoyu saw. Just as Chenluo was contemplating whether or not to lead the team to deal with that zombie, Rice suddenly walked over and told Chenluo, "Chenluo, you might be screwed." Hearing this, Chenluo was shocked, so he immediately took Rice to the side. "Rice, focus and sense carefully." After a detailed sensing, Rice explained, "I feel that you're on the verge of death. Although it's extremely dangerous, it seems there's a tremendous benefit." Hearing this, Chenluo was speechless. Damn it, so that high-level mutated zombie that appeared is actually targeting me? According to what Zhao Hai just described, it can teleport 100 meters instantaneously. At the very least, it's a level 7 wind attribute mutant. If I'm not mistaken, there should not have been a level 7 zombie appearing at this point in my past life. Could it be the butterfly effect caused by my appearance? And what is this earth-shattering benefit? It can't possibly be a level 7 crystal, can it? Although it's rare, it's not a huge surprise for me. With that in mind, Chenluo asked Rice, "Are Mi Ling and Mi Li in danger?" Rice indicated that they weren't. Zhao Hai, Song Ling, and others were sitting by the roadside, smoking cigarette after cigarette. Just then, Chenluo appeared at the entrance, holding Rice. "Bro Chen, what do you think? Should we move immediately?" Chenluo shook his head, indicating there was no need. "You guys can take refuge here for now. As for that zombie, don't worry, I'll go check it out." Zhao Hai and Song Ling were stunned. Isn't that a bit too brave? Just then, Mi Ling, Mi Li, and others who had gone out to kill zombies returned, chatting and laughing. They had barely stepped into the base when a young man, covered in blood and enveloped by the wind, approached the villa. He stared at Mi Ling and Mi Li with interest. The guards on duty, seeing his bloody appearance, shouted, "Who are you? What are you doing?" The young man gave a cold smile without answering. With a swoosh, his somewhat darkened palm swung towards the gatekeepers. A sharp gust of wind immediately struck them. Mi Ling, Mi Li, and Su Daju heard the commotion and turned back to see the guards instantly killed. Chenluo, who had rushed over, also witnessed this. He immediately conjured the Sword of the Void and slashed towards the zombie's back. Unexpectedly, the Sword of the Void couldn't break through its defense, making Chenluo's face change dramatically. Is it level 8 or level 9? The wind attribute zombie, recovering, slapped Chenluo's arm, sending him flying and crashing to the ground. The zombie looked disdainfully at Chenluo and continued to walk towards Mi Ling and Mi Li, clutching his arm and ignoring the pain. Chenluo thought the only option was to use void walking to flee with them. However, he had not yet mastered void walking with others. It was a gamble he had to take. Chenluo instantly teleported beside the trio, encircling them. However, only he disappeared. The others remained in place. Just as the wind attribute zombie's hand was about to grasp Mi Li's neck, Chenluo used void walking to appear in front of her, blocking the wind attribute zombie's attack on her. There's only one more option. That is for this mutant to drop dead when its lifespan ends. Chenluo screamed in his mind, "Just freaking die already." Due to Chenluo's emotional upheaval, the crystal in his mind underwent mysterious changes. The wind attribute zombie suddenly seemed as if it were fast-forwarded. The next second, it toppled over stiffly. The crystal in Chenluo's mind also consumed all its power in an instant, nearly shattering. He then collapsed, his vision going black. Mi Li cried as she used healing magic on Chenluo. Mi Ling instructed Su Daju to close the gate tightly. "Until Chenluo wakes up, nobody leaves. We'll defend the base." At that moment, Thunder King shouted furiously, "How could you all let this happen to the master? Why is he the only one affected?" Despite his worry, Rice tried to comfort him. "Don't worry, I had already calculated that something would happen to him. He won't die. Instead, there will be immense benefits." Yet nobody believed him, leaving Rice speechless. "I told you he'd be fine, and that there would be benefits. Why does no one believe me?" 2 days later, Chenluo woke up in a daze and suddenly realized he had awakened a second superpower, a terrifying time-based ability. He couldn't believe it for a long time. My second superpower is actually time-based? In his previous life, Chenluo had only encountered one person with a time-based ability, and he had witnessed the terror of it. It was an incredible power. With this thought, Chenluo's mind involuntarily started to recall the only time user he had encountered in his previous life. "In my past life, I used to sneak into Mi Ling's base to steal vegetables, but once, I encountered an inexplicable power. Not only did my abilities not respond, but my body was also immobilized. That was the time I got kicked by Mi Ling, and that person was Jiang Chuxue. Although she could only use one time-stopping skill, that ability was extremely terrifying, almost magical. After Jiang Chuxue died in my previous life, life. I took her body from a monster and placed it in a spatial dimension, but I never absorbed her crystal back then. Ah well, never mind. I almost shattered my own crystal this time. It won't recover for at least 3 months. Chenluo, still puzzled, turned to Meili and asked, was the crystal from that mutant retrieved? Meili handed over a pink crystal, which disappointed Chenluo. After all that trouble and almost losing my life, it's just an 8th level crystal. I can't even absorb it now. It will be at least a month before I can. With this thought, he decided to give the crystal to Thunder King to advance him to level 5 first. It would make him capable of guarding the base and the surrounding area while he recovers from his injuries. However, Thunder King directly refused, saying, Dog doesn't want it. It would put Dog in debt. Chenluo chuckled and said, don't worry, I won't deduct your points. If you reach level 5 first, not only will I not deduct your points, I'll also reward you with 500 points. How does that sound? The next second, Thunder King grabbed the crystal in his mouth. If you say so, then Dog is not troubled. Chenluo then instructed Thunder King to have Rice contact Meili and tell everyone that he's okay. Tell them to go ahead and eat the beef and mutton freely for the next 3 days as a celebration. Thunder King barked twice to indicate understanding. Meanwhile, elsewhere, a person riding an elephant stopped a group of people. This road is mine. This tree is mine. If you want to pass, pay a toll. Leave behind all your food, or don't blame me for showing no mercy. Faced with the threat from the elephant, people loudly retorted, what's so great about you? You're not even as strong as a dog. I guarantee, if you dare go against him, you won't even know how you died. What? Upon hearing these words, Chen's face darkened, disbelieving that a dog could be so remarkable. This is an elephant, you know? It's dozens of times bigger than any dog. How could any dog be more ferocious than it? Plus, I'm a level 3 nature elemental user with the ability to enhance the elephant's abilities. Just yesterday, the elephant advanced to level 4. Any level 4 elemental user would be no match for it. Thinking this, Chen immediately led his followers towards Chenluo's base to confront Thunder King and prove his strength. As Chen left, however, a white wolf and a gray wolf were watching him from the shadows, their eyes filled with cold, vengeful glares. That's because Chen had killed and eaten their companions. Wolves are creatures of strong vengeance. Soon, Chen and his elephant arrived at Chenluo's base, immediately putting everyone on alert. Upon seeing this, Chenluo thought, could this be Elephant Master Chen? He was quite famous in my past life, mostly because his elephant was indeed very powerful. After a boost from Chen, it was virtually unbeatable at the same level. Chen was eventually backstabbed by his own men and died. His elephant went on a rampage after losing its master, killing anyone it saw until it was put down by Meili. This intrigued Chenluo, who had been wanting to lay low during his recovery period. It looked like he had found something interesting to pass the time, Chen rode his elephant and appeared before everyone in a condescending manner. Ladies, I heard you have a very remarkable dog around here. Is it this golden fur right in front of me? Courageous, if nothing else. Hearing this, both Meili and Meili were stunned. Thunder King was enraged. So you ignore me just because I'm smaller? You underestimate me, you scoundrel. Golden Fur was even more confused and scared as the massive elephant approached, causing him to crouch on the spot, trembling with fear. Seeing Golden Fur's weak reaction, Chen broke into unabashed laughter. Is this all? Meili on the side was speechless. Are you looking for someone to compete with your elephant? How about I give it a try? At these words, Thunder King became anxious and wanted to rush out. This is free points walking right up to me, but he was held back by Chenluo. Thunder King, don't go causing trouble. It's time to train Meili. If you don't follow orders, you can stop being the dog elder. At that moment, Meiling's body was enveloped in flames, signaling Chen to make his move. Chen snorted and had no intention of holding back. He directly commanded his elephant to charge at Meili. The elephant's trunk was ready to strike hard. Just as it was about to hit Meili, she channeled all her flames to her fingertips and pointed it towards the trunk. Chenluo, who was watching from the side, immediately recognized this as one of Meiling's signature moves, the prototype of Red Lotus Burst. Meiling's Red Lotus clashed with the elephant's trunk, incinerating the massive animal in a blink of an eye. However, using this move drained all her energy, and she sat down, panting heavily. Seeing his beloved elephant in such a state, Chen let out a heart-wrenching roar, everyone, attack, kill them all. Hearing this, Chenluo sighed, Sudaju, Xiaoran, go on, show them some color. Soon after, Chen watched as his men were instantly taken down by Chenluo and the others. Astonished by their strength, he turned to flee towards the main gate. Seizing the moment, Chenluo signaled Thunder King to chase after him. Thunder King, who had been eager for action, saw this as an opportunity for 100 points. Seeing Thunder King chasing after him, Chen panicked and chose a smaller path, hoping to shake him off. Little did he know, 2 wolves had been waiting for him. The wolves immediately lunged at him. One grabbed Chen's arm, tearing and biting, while the other aimed straight for his throat. Thunder King, who caught up from behind, was shocked. These were his points. How could someone beat him to the kill? So, Thunder King leapt high into the air and slapped Chen on the head. Chen died instantly. This terrifying sight left the 2 wolves stunned. They looked at Thunder King in horror, realizing they should not mess with this dog. However, Thunder King had his eyes eyes fixed on the white wolf, his face revealing a lecherous expression. "You look pretty good," he remarked, scaring the wolves into running. With a single pounce, Thunder King had the white wolf under him, putting on a roguelike expression. "Hey there, beauty. Wanna be friends?" The gray wolf, seeing its companion caught, turned back and let out a menacing howl. Thunder King squinted, instantly recognizing the other wolf as a male. "What? You want to compete with me for her?" By then, Chenluo and the others had also arrived. Everyone was surprised to see the two wolves. However, when Chenluo saw Thunder King, his face darkened. "You're making me lose face. You're acting like a complete simp." Unable to bear it any longer, Chenluo grabbed the wolves and headed back to base, with Thunder King wagging his tail behind him. Seeing this, Chenluo kicked Thunder King a few times. "Look at you. You're a disgrace. Do you think you can win them over with gentleness? They respect power. Beat them until they submit, or go all out." Hearing this, Thunder King had an epiphany. Indeed, the boss knows best. Watching Thunder King eagerly run toward the white wolf, Chenluo couldn't help but feel annoyed. Once Thunder King had left, Chenluo started thinking about the future planning of the base. Considering the current rate of zombie evolution, within a month all zombies would reach level 4. These level 4 zombies wouldn't only be more powerful but would also have a certain level of intelligence. They might even start searching for survivors purposefully. Even though the base was currently in a remote location, it was still within the city limits. It would inevitably come under large-scale